book, a film, and a game. My favourite game. Cornelius Ryan's A Bridge Too Far. As far as narrative history goes, this is probably as good as it's ever going to be. If you've seen the film, then you've kind of got a summary of what the book's about, but the book is worth its time. It was one of the first books to write about the whole operation, not just the Battle of Arnhem. I think it probably was the first. And it's a cornerstone in terms of history of that battle. Ryan looks at the big picture, but also at the small picture, the guys who actually fought the battle, and you get to see it from their perspective as well as those of the generals. From privates to field marshals, this book is filled with accounts and they don't detract from the pace of the book. I've heard people describe history books as quite dry and miserable, and to be honest, a lot are just designed for references or scrupulous study, not really for casual readers. But honestly, Ryan's book feels like fiction. It's not fiction, as in, it's not fantasy, but it feels like you could read it like you could a fiction book. You could read it cover to cover and not feel overwhelmed when you're reading it. I think that's why it's so popular. He dramatises events like Frost's men at the bridge, who are holding on against Tiger tanks, who are firing anti-tank rounds through all the walls of the schoolhouse because they must have run out of HE rounds. It's literally that much detail, and it's just brilliant. It's great. And because this book is so popular, it's quite easy to find a copy, and I mean, it's cheap as well because the Kindle version is only $6.99, and that's fantastic. I actually have 2 copies of this book. I have the Kindle version and the paperback, which is somewhere, probably, or maybe over there. I don't know where it is, but I have it. It's somewhere. The problem is that for most people, the study of Operation Market Garden begins and ends here with Cornelius Ryan's book. This book embodies public opinion. It is literally the narrative that everyone accepts. It's the theory of the battle that everyone accepts because everyone's seen the film, and I think Ryan has done more than anyone else to popularise this battle around the world. And I think for that reason, that's why I really like this book. I think it's mainly because everyone knows it. They may or may not have read it, but they know the theory behind it. And to me, that is where Ryan really hit the nail on the head. But I think that's it. The fact is, it is an introduction. It's not the be-all and end-all. And people who have seen the film or they've read the book, they think that they're an expert on the battle. And you can't be an expert on the battle by reading one source or watching one film. It doesn't work like that. Do you remember this scene from the film where the Germans ask Frost troops to surrender and then Frost tells them to bugger off? Didn't happen. Frost, who was there on the set of the film, told them that it was fiction, and he even mentions this in his book. So people have been misled a little bit, and I think this proves as well that you really can't rely on one source of information from one battle. Ryan doesn't go out there to deliberately come up with random events that didn't happen. It's just the sources that he used, he has plenty of sources, the sources that he used have since come into dispute. That is the issue, and his book was written in the 70s. We have new sources, we have new materials, we have new ways of looking at this battle, and Ryan's book kind of has a little bit of age to it. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but the tanks that get across Nijmegen Bridge, in Ryan's case, drank tea and didn't go on to Arnhem. And whilst that event kind of happened, sort of, the American officer who challenges the British at that part of the bridge, that event didn't happen, or at least is heavily disputed by historians who come after Ryan. But why would somebody make that up? Why? Is there something else going on behind the scenes? Well, yes. And that's my point. You can't just rely on one source. That one source is great, but unfortunately doesn't see it from all perspectives, and that's what you need to kind of realise when you read just one book on one particular subject. If you're looking for a fantastic history book or an introduction to Operation Market Garden, then yeah, this book is the right one for you. Hands down the best introduction to the battle, no problem, no questions asked. The problem is that, in my opinion at least, you need to read at least 3 books on the subject, not just the one. You really need to read Ryan's book first, then Kershaw's book second, since his is on the German perspective, which Ryan doesn't really do too well, and then Nealon's book last. If you read all 3 of these books, you will get a solid picture of the battlefield. I know I mentioned this before in my other review of Kershaw's book, but it's true. If you read all 3 books, and even if you disagree with the other 2, I mean, the fact of the matter is you have to read them to kind of understand the whole perspective and what historians are debating about this battle, because it's not black and white, it's not clear cut. There's more to it than that. So have you read Cornelius Ryan's A Bridge Too Far? What do you think of it? Let us know in the comments below. And check out my Operation Market Garden documentary if you haven't done already. I go into as much detail as I can about the battle. It's nearly 2 hours long, so yeah, there you go. There's a link. It's better than the film. No, that's not true. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now. Osterbeek was pointless. A major crossing could not be mounted because